Hi, I'm Brian and welcome to another adventure on the hills. On this trip we all set out to do the Monadhliath 3. This ended up being a very long day for us, especially with the distance being over 24 kilometres. These 3 Munros are a bit of a mixed bag. Some parts of the route are quite good, however most of it isn't. It doesn't matter if you're going clockwise or anti-clockwise, you're going to have a bog at the beginning and you're going to have a bog field at the end. We decided to do them clockwise, which meant we were heading for Carn Derrick. As you can see, the walk-in from the car park isn't too bad, decent tracks, and once you hit this kind of ruined farm area, you'll then turn right and head up towards the valley. You do have a decent walk through the valley. As you can see, it's a decent jeep track, nothing too hard for you or your dogs. There was some livestock not long after the car park, but once you hit the valley we didn't really run into anything other than some wild hares. But that may be a different story depending on the time of year you do these Munros. Eventually you'll break track over to the left where the river is and you will find a little wooden bridge that you've got to cross. It's not the best bridge in the world, but it's better than doing a river crossing. Cody did need a little bit of encouragement to get across, but the other 2 dogs got across absolutely fine. This bridge does mark the end of your decent track for quite a while. Even though it had been considerably dry for a good period of time, there was still an awful lot of boggy areas that we had to traverse. I certainly wouldn't recommend doing these 3 in the wetter months. I'd give it plenty of time to dry off and then get these ones done. Otherwise, it's just going to be no fun for you. Be aware there's not much of a track at this point. If you end up doing this in bad weather, especially when you can't see a lot, you will need to make sure that you've got something to help you navigate along this route, whether it's a map, compass, GPS or a decent phone app. Because there was still a lot of snow and ice on the slopes, we decided to push a bit more over to the right of the valley. This did add a little bit more distance onto our route, but it was a hell of a lot safer. We were lucky enough to get absolutely cracking views on these hills. That certainly makes up for the fact that these three were not the most impressive Monroes I've done. Don't expect to be on top of your first Monroe really quickly. We started about back at 8 o'clock and I think we're on the summit by about 12 o'clock. Unfortunately, these three Monroes have got a long walk in and also a long walk out. Here we are, finally approaching the summit. Out of the three Monroes you're going to do this day, this has definitely got the best summit. Just be careful if you're doing this in low visibility, as it has a very steep drop, as you can see in the video. After a well-deserved lunch, it was now time to press on to our second Monroe. The route itself isn't overly bad. There is a few areas that are quite bouldery, but after that it kind of flattens out to just kind of grassy terrain. However, it can feel like it's never going to end though. Just be aware, if it's a very windy day, there is no shelter from it. It's very flat on the top, which means you're going to be hit with the brunt of it for as long as you're up there. Finally we get to our second summit. Sad to say, after all the walking, it's nothing too impressive. On a clear day you can easily see the third summit. It's just over the back of Charlotte right now. There's nothing difficult about this third one. Again, like all three of these, it's just a bit of a slog to get to. As bland as these hills are, having the snow just made it a little bit better. Doesn't change the fact that it's a very long day. At this point in the day, all of us are getting really tired. It's a long route, long slog, and we still have a long walk out back to the car as well. You can probably hear the enthusiasm I have for these three hills. I wonder how I'll feel when I eventually come round to doing these three again. That's if I ever do these three again. At least you do end on a nice looking summit. I suppose if you wanted to practice wild camping up on Monroes, these three might be a good choice, as most of the terrain is quite flat once you're up. Once you've finished in the summit, just head straight over and head down into the valley. This is where it doesn't matter which way round you do this route, because you're now going to head down into boggy terrain. We didn't find much of a track. There is some intermittent tracks every so often, but predominantly you just try to pick your way through the best you can. The bridge that you can see marks the end of the boggy terrain. After this, you get onto a decent jeep track, and after a long day in the hills, this is a much needed jeep track. Be aware, if you are going to do this the other way around, look out for the curn. That will help indicate where the bridge is, as the bridge is in quite low ground. That's the curn just coming into view on the camera right now. Just like in our walk-in, we've now got a decent jeep track to walk out on. As I said, it doesn't matter which way you do these Munros. Now, the time of year we went up, we didn't actually see any livestock anywhere. This might be different in the summer months. That being said, there was quite a lot of hares running around in the hills. Even though these are not the most impressive Munros that we've done, or the most challenging, they certainly pushed our fitness and endurance, as it was such a long route we had to do. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share and subscribe, and we shall see you all on our next adventure.